I'll go ahead and call today's meeting to order. Today's September 10th, 2024, and it's 3:03 p.m. So this is going to be for the Traffic Committee meeting for the month of September. Our second item on... So there's our agenda. Our second item on the agenda is the Traffic Committee items taken to the previous Traffic Committee meeting, which was the engineering review of the intersection of Citrus Street and Cameron Avenue. Then we'll go ahead and hop into our third item, which is going to be the... Let me take a pause and let's go ahead and do introductions. I'm Brian Cervantes with the Engineering Division.
I'm Maria Fraser with the Engineering Division.
Jenna Robbins with the Traffic Division.
Joanne Burns, Deputy Community Development Director.
Robert Ortega, I'm with the Engineering Division.
Perfect. Now we'll go ahead and get started with item 3, which is the new Traffic Committee items. And our first one is going to be for 201 South Garden Glen Street. For this request, the resident is requesting the installation of red curb along the north side of their residence that is located on 201 South Garden Glen Street. The resident reported that multiple crimes have occurred in the area and would like for the city to install red curb or other traffic devices to prevent vehicles from parking along the north side of their property along Dalewood Street. For the existing conditions along this location, the posted speed limit is a 25-mile-per-hour prima facie speed limit on both Garden Glen and Dalewood. Both streets are classified by the Caltrans California Road Systems Map as local roads, and both roads are 40 feet in width. Both roads additionally have one 20-foot lane in each direction, and parking is allowed on both streets except segments marked with red curb. There is existing 20 feet of red curb for fire hydrant access along this segment. The length of available parking between driveways along Garden Glen is 97 feet along the north side of the street, and along Dalewood is 55 feet along the east side of the street. Oh, there's that. And collision was obtained from the statewide integrated traffic record system, or SWITRS. And a review of collisions were reported to SWITRS within 100 feet from the residence located on 201 South Garden Glen Street was conducted over a period of approximately 3 years between January 2021 through December of 2023. And based on the information, or based on the SWITRS review, there was 0 collisions during that time. A field visit was conducted on Wednesday, July 18th, 2024 by traffic engineering staff. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines found in the California Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or CAMUTCD, and the California Vehicle Code, or CVC, it was concluded that the south side of Dalewood Street does not qualify for additional red curb. Due to maintenance costs and parking demand, the installation of red curb is only considered to remediate line-of-sight issues caused by vehicles parking too close to an intersection. In the case of Dalewood Street and Garden Glen Street, both streets show to have sufficient line of sight when entering the intersection and do not qualify for additional red curb. The location does qualify for the following improvements, which is to refresh and extend the red curb that is installed along the fire hydrant on the south side of East Dalewood Street at the intersection with Garden Glen Street, and to extend the red curb to be 15 feet east and west of the fire hydrant for a total of 30 feet of red curb. And the second is to request additional police enforcement to address the reported issues at this segment. It was very hard.
So it looks like existing is 21 feet. So following the CVC code that you need 15 feet on each side of the fire hydrant, and this one includes some line of sight. So it looks like we're extending the red curb for 15 feet so that we're in conformance with the vehicle code. So it would be a total of 30 feet. So it looks like it's an additional 9 feet of red curb on that intersection. Is that correct? Correct on the east side?
Correct, yeah. It should be an additional 9 feet.
Yeah.
Or to the west.
To the west, yes.
Correct.
Do we have any comments?
No comments.
I had more so a question for me. So this was initiated by
Residents
saying there's crime. Do we know the type of crime taking place?
I took
Is that on
this
there?
call when we originally got it, and they didn't specify, just
No.
vehicles parking alongside their house.
Okay.
So originally, I think in the existing thing, they wanted the whole curb from Garden Glen to that driveway to the, I'm not sure what that is, yeah, to the west as red.
Got it.
But in this case, we're going to suggest refreshing the red curb on the west side and then add another 9 feet. Comments? We don't have any residents on this one, so. Do we wish to agree with the recommendations and send it to council?
I would agree with, it's a fair recommendation to do.
Yes?
Send to council, yes.
Okay.
Say second.
Everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, we're an advisory, so we discuss it, and then if it sounds reasonable with all the divisions, then we send it to council and they have the final approval.
We'll go ahead and jump into our second item, which is the review of Lark Ellen Avenue and Greenville Drive. For this request, the resident is requesting for red curb to be installed at the corners of the intersection of Lark Ellen Avenue and Greenville Drive. The resident reported that vehicles tend to park close to the intersection and create a line of sight issue for vehicles turning from Greenville Drive onto Lark Ellen Avenue. The existing conditions along this location, the speed limit at along Lark Ellen Avenue is 40 miles per hour posted, whereas Greenville Street has a 25 mile per hour prima facie speed limit. The street classifications for both roads per the California Road Systems Functional Classification Map is Lark Ellen Avenue is a minor arterial road and Greenville Drive is a local road. Lark Ellen is 51 feet in width and Greenville Drive is 40 feet in width. Lark Ellen has 2 lanes, 17 feet and 12 feet in each direction, and Greenville Drive has one 20-foot wide lane in each direction. The intersection is stop controlled along Greenville Drive for eastbound traffic, and parking is allowed on both streets, and there is no existing red curb at this intersection. Collision data was additionally obtained from Switters along the intersection of Lark Ellen Avenue and Greenville Drive, and was conducted over approximately a 3-year period between January 2020 through December of 2023. And from this review, it was found that there was one collision reported. Additionally, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on March 12th of 2024 at this location. Oh, there's that one. And this one also did have a site distance analysis done. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAMU TCD and CVC, it has been determined that the intersection of East Greenville Drive onto South Lark Ellen Avenue would benefit from the installation of additional red curb to improve line of sight as well as other improvements. And the recommendations are to install 20 feet of red curb along the south side of Lark Ellen Avenue on the northwest and southwest corners of the intersection with Greenville Drive. And the second recommendation is to refresh the existing stop and stop bar pavement markings that are located along the eastbound direction of Greenville Drive at the intersection with Lark Ellen Avenue.
Yeah, looking at the pictures, it looks like it's really faded, the stop and stop bar, so.
Line of sight distance, I can see putting red curb on the north side or on the northwest side. But how are we resolving line of sight distance on the south side that we're recommending? Because I can see the stop, you stop and you try to go with north and you have a line of sight, so if you park a car there, you can't really see behind the car. But I'm not understanding why we're doing a red one.
Yeah, Lark Ellen has a speed limit of 40, so it needs,
Unless we're doing it for the houses right there and they have problems pulling out with line of sight.
yeah, that was
Is that what we're trying to do?
Yeah, that was the
Okay,
issue.
I just wanted
People-
clarification.
Yeah, exiting Greenville
But also exiting Greenville makes sense to
onto
have
Lark
it.
Ellen.
Correct. But the line of sight issue wouldn't be on the south side, right? Or am I missing something?
It could be, because the speed of the traffic on Lark Ellen. So
Okay.
you do need to be able to, and if someone's parked there, you can't see around them. You would have to pull into the potential lane to see around the parked car, so the
Yeah.
20 feet assists that.
I get the north side, I just
Yeah,
wasn't getting the
no, I
south
know.
side, so I was just kind of thinking that
Mhm.
maybe for clarification, is that for that house, for them to pull out, they would have an issue with line of sight, right?
Yeah, they
Is
would,
that why-
for backing out.
Okay,
We don't have it on
Mm-mm.
Google, but there's also the new law that came into effect, AB 413, that has that approach of any wheelchair ramp, ADA access, we need to put
okay, thank you.
the red, but it would more likely apply to the northern side because it's approaching.
Yeah,
But
Approaching to what?
any wheelchair ramp, ADA access
Yes.
on the corners. So they suggest that we need to put 20 feet on to cars, so that if there's somebody in a wheelchair and they're sitting lower down than a standing pedestrian, they'll be able to see them. So do we want to move this one towards council, or do we have an issue with the red on the south side?
Motion to move to council.
Okay,
because the red will also help the resident get out,
backing out.
backing out as well.
I think a lot of it
He
is the
probably
speed
has
of
a sec-
traffic on Lark Ellen.
Mhm, especially if it's fast.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt anything, and that's a really odd place to park anyways for anyone.
I think they still have a spot to park. So it's not, we're not removing
No, they
their
got-
parking,
they got-
so
yeah, they
yeah,
have
it looks like they
plenty.
still have a place to park, so,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you. This will be moved to council as well.
All right, then our next item is going to be the review of 2027 East Vine Avenue between Hollenbeck Street and Azusa Avenue. For this request, the resident is requesting red curb to be installed on the north side of Vine Avenue between Azusa Avenue and Hollenbeck Street. The resident reported that cars parking close to his residence on the north side of the avenue are causing a line of sight issue when pulling out of his driveway. The existing conditions for this location is Vine Avenue is 35 miles per hour and posted 25 miles per hour when children are present. Vine is a major collector per the Caltrans California Road Systems map. Vine's 40 feet in width and has one 20-foot wide lane in each direction. Parking is allowed on both sides of the street, and there is no existing red curb here. And for parking on the site, there are two driveways approximately 45 feet apart. And collision data was obtained from the computerized collision record system maintained by the state of California called Switters. A review of the collisions that were reported to Switters along 2027 East Vine Avenue was conducted over approximately a 3-year period between January 2021 through December of 2023. During that review, it's found that there was no collisions along that segment. A field visit was conducted on Wednesday, July 17th to observe the existing conditions. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, it has been determined that the residence located at 2027 Vine Avenue does not qualify for installation of red curb. Due to cost and high demand of street parking, the installation of red curb is used to remediate line of sight issues at the intersection locations. After reviewing the line of sight conditions at the driveway exits located at 2027 Vine Avenue, it was concluded that there is sufficient view of oncoming traffic. At this time, the location does not qualify for further improvements.
Any discussion?
No,
No, I agree with the
I
discussion.
agree with the recommendation.
Plus,
Yeah.
'cause the resident also, it looks like it appears to have a drive-through kind of
A circular drive.
circular
so-
driveway, so I'm kind of wondering how you still have better view than somebody backing out, so I agree.
Okay.
Then the next item will be Valley Boulevard and Clubhouse Drive. The resident is requesting the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Valley Boulevard and Clubhouse Drive. The resident explained that she has witnessed multiple collisions happen at the intersection and believes that a traffic signal could improve driving conditions. For the existing conditions at this intersection, Clubhouse Drive is 25-mile-per-hour road, whereas Valley Boulevard is a 50-mile-per-hour road. The intersection is stop controlled along the southbound direction on Clubhouse Drive. There is a stop sign for southbound traffic or travel and none for the eastbound-westbound movement. There are no crosswalks at this intersection. The location of the nearest controlled intersection is a traffic signal located at the intersection of Valley Boulevard and Senchus Avenue, approximately 815 feet west of Clubhouse Drive. Caltrans classifies these roads as Clubhouse Drive being a local road and Valley Boulevard being other principal arterial. The speed survey 85th percentile was found to be 57 miles per hour. The average daily traffic on Valley Boulevard was found to be, in the eastbound direction, 10,649 vehicles per day, and the westbound direction, 11,728 vehicles per day, for a total of 22,377 vehicles per day. Clubhouse Drive does allow parking on both sides of the street, whereas Valley Boulevard does not allow any parking on the street. There are streetlights for all legs of the intersection. And as well, a collision history was done for this intersection for a 3-year period between January 2021 through December 2023, and found that there were no collisions at the intersection. As well, a site visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Wednesday, July 17th of 2024. Oh, there's that one. And based on engineering judgments and warrants found in the CAM-UTCD and CVC, it was concluded that Valley Boulevard and Clubhouse Drive does not meet the signal warrant criteria for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Valley Boulevard at Clubhouse Drive at this time. While the ADT volumes are high along Valley Boulevard, Clubhouse Drive serves approximately 150 houses and is not expected to produce the minimum volumes required to warrant the installation of a traffic signal. Additionally, the intersection does not meet the minimum collision volumes to indicate the need for additional traffic control. This location does qualify for the following improvements, which are: remove the uncompliant stop sign located on the northwest corner of the intersection of Valley Boulevard and Clubhouse Drive and replace with a new stop sign. Install cross traffic does not stop plaque underneath the stop sign located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Valley Boulevard, and refresh the existing red curb that's installed along the north side of Valley Boulevard, east of Clubhouse Drive.
All right, are there any comments?
I can see the concern, but if it doesn't meet the warrant, it doesn't meet the warrant.
It's very hard to meet warrants, and you've got to have approximately equal traffic for both directions because you have to meet it. I mean, warrants are warrants, we all know from previous items that came up. But typically, you have to meet it. If it's just 1 hour of the day, it's not one that you want to say, I'm going to put $1 million signal up there. So you have to look at that. And in this case, there is a signal at Senchus Valley, so it should be providing a platoon. I know it is probably difficult during peak hours, but yeah, with the 150 houses, and no collisions, it's not going to meet the warrants for significance to look at that for a traffic signal. But we are, recommending the cross traffic does not stop, the additional redo the stop sign to make it more viable. People don't want to hear it, but it's like if it's the problem with left turns, then maybe left turns should be restricted during certain times. We try not to do that because it's not popular. But people have to understand all along Valley, it's a major cut through that, goes through all the other cities that, unfortunately this is how it is, that you got to be careful and enter traffic, merge onto traffic when it's safe.
I know
you know, sometimes there, and I'm not a traffic engineer, that's why I'm asking for clarification. Do you think it would be even worth to put a sign, when you're going westbound that says, you know, T intersection, because it's a T intersection, it's a kind of warning the driver.
I mean, we
Does
could
that
put
does that
the
ever help? I
sign-
mean, I don't know, I don't know. Because some people just, when you're going that fast, you're not looking at signs.
Yeah.
Especially this intersection, I drive this often,
Mhm.
and I have family who live in there, and there's been close calls. 'cause
Yeah.
Cars going.
They are going fast,
westbound,
right.
and you're making that left turn, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, what's your opinion
Yeah, we could
on that?
add
I don't know, I'm
a
just asking.
T, that's usually what you would add.
Yeah.
To, it's like it's a sideways T,
Yeah.
or I guess in this case it would be an L, because it's not or an upside down T. Because it's a T intersection, so you'd have, you only have it which the direction is,
Yeah, I
so.
mean, I don't know if it would help or not, I mean, does the cost versus
Yeah.
the benefit, I don't know.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
I've seen that done other places, I
Mhm.
couldn't tell you if it really benefits, I mean, I do pay attention sometimes.
Right.
But most people, when I go at 50, they're probably like rushing to something, but maybe.
Well, it's a
for the
yellow
few-
warning sign,
Yeah, it's
so,
yellow
yeah.
and it
Mhm.
pops out, so maybe.
So we can add that.
suggestion.
And then I'm thinking that this one may need an additional 20 feet on the other side of the intersection of red curb. I know we just put it on the one side,
Yeah.
but I think this one, because of the speed of traffic.
Because
we
it will
would
give you
need-
that lane to kind of merge in, because if it's a car right there, it's
Yeah.
hard to kind of.
I know there's no parking, but still, if someone's in the left turn pocket, it may block some of your
But at
line of
least
sight, so.
PD would be able to,
Oh, yeah, is there parking on this?
There's no parking.
If there's
on
no
the-
parking, then we
No.
don't need the red.
so we
There's
already
no
have
parking on
that,
that.
so
Yeah.
PD can enforce
Okay, the
anyways.
other
PD
one-
can enforce already.
Yes, right, so what's 3? Oh, refresh.
There is one there, there's a
I
21
know, it says
footer.
refresh it, but I think it's because of the fire hydrant, maybe. Oh, yeah, it's because of the fire hydrant.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so yeah,
That
no,
makes
I don't think, we don't need it if it's no parking, so.
So
No
if
one will
there's
be
a,
parking there.
if there's a fire hydrant here, shouldn't the red curb be like 30 feet? If it's not already?
It's 15
It's
feet on
15
each
feet,
side is
But we
what
probably
it's,
don't have
should
15
be.
feet.
Yeah, it has,
We can relook at it to see if we even have the 15 on each side. 'Cause we
Yeah,
might
let me
not.
see.
21's probably
Does
the
it
best we
say?
can.
From the photos, it does look like the hydrant's closer to
To the
the
intersection.
ramp, so it might
you'd
have
only need,
15
yeah,
feet.
so you would only need, if the fire hydrant's right here and it's close to the BCR,
Yeah.
you wouldn't need a whole 15, you might need only 5 and
That's probably-
15,
And
so.
this is what the situation
Yeah.
is, yeah. You got the 15 on one side, but you can't meet the 15 on the other because of the
Right.
curb return.
Okay, so what I have is the stop sign, the cross traffic does not stop as a reminder, and then adding the T intersection ahead, about, I don't know, 200 feet ahead.
Janet,
For westbound.
do you think it would be practical to put like a flashing stop sign like they do on some of the streets to get people's attention? Maybe-
Well,
maybe a deterrent?
but, yeah, and it would be, but flashing stop signs are only for when there's like an always stop. And this one only has a stop sign on the minor street, so
I see.
Valley doesn't stop at all.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay, thank you.
if there had been, not to say that that's the only reason, but if there had been some more collisions and such, then we would probably put the yellow flashing on the T sign. But at this time, we'll see the yellow triangle, the diamond for the T, for noting that there's a cross traffic ahead.
There's a flashing.
Okay, then do we agree to send that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then the next item is going to be Hollenbeck Avenue between East Garvey Avenue South and East Cortez Street. And for this one, the resident is requesting to evaluate existing conditions along Hollenbeck Avenue between East Garvey Avenue South and East Cortez Street. The resident reported that vehicles tend to speed through this segment, resulting in collisions. For the existing conditions, the segment length is 2,420 feet, and the posted speed limit along Hollenbeck is 40 miles per hour. Per the Caltrans Road Systems Classification Map, Hollenbeck is a minor arterial road, and Hollenbeck is 60 feet wide with 2 lanes of 19 feet and 11 feet in each direction and a dashed yellow center line. Hollenbeck Avenue at Cortez is stop controlled with all-way flashing stop signs, and Hollenbeck at Garvey Avenue is traffic signal controlled. There are streetlights along the entire segment for northbound and southbound travel. There is on-street parking allowed on both sides of the street. And from the 2017 citywide speed survey, for the northbound direction, there's 6,700 vehicles per day, and for the southbound direction, 6,050 vehicles per day, for a total along the segment of 12,750 vehicles per day. From the same 2017 citywide speed survey, the northbound 85th percentile speed was 46 miles per hour, and the southbound 85th percentile speed was 47 miles per hour. And collision data was obtained from the statewide integrated traffic record system, and a review of collisions that were reported to Switters along Hollenbeck Avenue between East Garvey Avenue South and East Cortez Street was conducted over approximately a 3-year period between January 2021 through December 2023. And based on this, it was found that there was a total of 6 collisions, with 5 of the collisions being vehicle versus vehicle collisions and 1 an unknown collision. And additionally, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on December 28th of 2023. So based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, it has been determined that Hollenbeck Avenue between Garvey Avenue South and Cortez Street would benefit from the installation of additional traffic calming measures as shown in the recommendation exhibit below. The first is to remove and replace the existing 40 mile per hour speed limit sign for a 25 mile per hour school zone speed limit sign at the following locations. And that's going to be along the east side of Hollenbeck Avenue, approximately 150 feet north of Cortez Street, and along the west side of Hollenbeck Avenue, approximately 100 feet north of Walnut Creek Parkway. The second recommendation is to install signal head warning signs along the east side of Hollenbeck Avenue, approximately 115 feet south of James Avenue for northbound traffic. And the third recommendation is to remove and replace pedestrian signage and arrow plaque that are located on the southeast and southwest corners of the intersection of Hollenbeck Avenue and Rio Verde Drive, and replace the signs for double-sided rectangular rapid flashing beacon pedestrian signs and downward arrow plaques. And the fourth recommendation is to request additional spot enforcement along this segment of Hollenbeck Avenue between Garvey Avenue and Cortez Street.
Do we check the ATP and see if this one was on the ATP for the crosswalk at Rio Vista?
I'd have to double check. I don't believe it's on ATP off the top of my head.
Are you asking because of Mount Sac?
Yeah, because of the Mount Sac
Yeah, that's
school.
what I was kinda wondering, if there was any data on,
I would like to,
Pedestrian
yeah, pull this one
flow.
and then check to see, we need to do a pedestrian count. I remember doing this Rio Verde a couple years ago. We put the original signs of
Mhm.
the pedestrian signs. I see from the pictures, it does have the yellow crosswalk, and it just has the normal signs. But I'd like to know how many pedestrians are crossing before we shoot right to the flashing RRFB.
agreed.
Because I don't know if this is a regular school or is this a early college academy. So it may be
It-
high school,
A lot
or
of
I
people
don't know.
probably drive, I bet the pet count is probably low, but we'd be remiss if we didn't check.
Yeah,
before.
so I'd like to check before we do
Yeah.
that, because funds are so scarce now. The other items, we'll just bring it back when we come, because it does have signage for the school area. It does need the 25 school areas when children are present, because it just has the 40. So yeah, I know there's a crosswalk there, but I'd like to know how many kids are using it.
And just for, because I don't know.
Yeah.
For my clarification, this is when children are present, what is considered children?
Well, that's it too. It's any school. If they're in a school, I mean, it could be high school, it could be all the way down to preschool. If they
Okay.
use the crosswalk, then they are considered children, school age. Anything school age, it is classified in there.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was a threshold for defining school age.
Normally, they do have a definitions if they want crossing guards, that's only for elementary.
Yeah.
And in some cases, junior high, but, I don't think they don't define for the speed limit. So I think we need to, hold this one until we do a further study on it. Is that,
I agree.
agree?
Right.
And then we can bring it back. We'll
Yeah.
just do, now schools are back in session. Let's see what's out there.
Yeah.
And then, if we have a lot of children or school age, or let's find out what age are using it, and are they using the crosswalk? You know, that's a big thing. Okay?
All right, our next item is going to be for 421 East Merced Avenue. For this request, the resident is requesting a review of traffic conditions near the offices of Covina Valley Urologic Medical Group located on 421 East Merced Avenue. The resident reported that a significant number of collisions have happened in front of the medical office. The resident explained that due to the curved geometry of the street, drivers exiting the parking lot are not able to see oncoming traffic, making it difficult to make left turns onto Merced Avenue. The existing conditions along Merced Avenue is Merced is a 48-mile-per-hour street that is a minor arterial road per the Caltrans California Road Systems map. Merced Avenue is 60 feet wide with 2 lanes in each direction. Parking is allowed along both sides of Merced Avenue except on the segment marked with red curb. In total, there's 237 feet of available parking on the north side of Merced Avenue near 421 East Merced Avenue. There is existing red curb installed west of 421 Merced Avenue. The nearest controlled intersection is a signal-controlled intersection 430 feet west of the location. And a collision history was done over a 3-year period between January 2021 through December 2023 and found that there was 4 collisions along this segment. And as well, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Wednesday, July 17th of 2024. Now, based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, it was concluded that the frontage of the medical office located on 421 East Merced Avenue would benefit from the installation of red curb. Due to the curvature of this segment of Merced Avenue, it is recommended to install additional red curb along the north side of the street, as shown in the recommendation diagram below. The recommendations are to install 70 feet of red curb marking along the north side of East Merced Avenue west of the main driveway, install 38 feet of red curb marking along the north side of East Merced Avenue east of the main driveway, install approximately 23 feet of red curb along the fire hydrant located on the north side of Merced Avenue, 600 feet east of Glendora Avenue, and remove approximately 3 feet of the bushes located on the east side of the property to clear the right-of-way from overgrown vegetation.
Okay, so basically, due to the curvature of the road, they're having a hard time exiting their office. There were a couple, although they said there was 4, there was 3 that were right at Merced Place and around where the office is. It was mainly hitting parked cars. And one unsafe turn, but we don't know if it was coming out of the driveway or just on the street. Could be any of the driveways, so.
Are-
40 miles an hour. yeah.
Are the bushes on, recommended for number 4 in the public right-of-way?
Yeah, that, we have to check. If it's not in the public right-of-way, maybe,
The recommendation should be to direct code
code,
enforcement
yes.
to
Direct
contact
code
the-
enforcement
the
to.
property owner.
Yes. Property owner to, trim the bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any more comments, or?
Or, were there any line of sight issues from vehicles turning from Merced Place to Merced Avenue?
Yeah, they didn't, that wasn't, they should have looked at that as well, because it's the same curvature.
Mhm.
So, I think you have a good idea that, I think there should be at least 20 feet on each side of that Merced Place coming out.
Mhm.
Especially since 3 of the collisions, well, it's 50 feet west, 74 feet west, or 150 feet west. So it's not really at that intersection, but slightly to the west of the intersection. I'm suggesting that we put 20 feet of red curb on either side of Merced Place. Any discussion or disagreement?
Well, I think it makes sense to put some of the northeasterly, because if you're making a right onto Merced Avenue, you want to, and the speed limit says 40.
40.
So, but I don't know that do we really need one on the easterly side of Merced Place?
Yeah, definitely on the
Definitely on the
west, right?
Yeah, on the
Yes.
west side
Yes.
versus the, it's like northeast,
Mhm.
northwest. But I think the northwest makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have somebody at the stop sign, you gotta like pull forward quite a bit.
Yeah, and
if
you know
have
what?
a car parked there, it makes it even worse.
Right, and it looks like there's a driveway really close to that east side, so
Yeah,
then
that
that
too.
would provide a gap for someone's not gonna be parking across the driveway, so. So I agree on the west side.
Cause I mean, we don't have a view, but I don't think there's a lot of room on the easterly side
Mm-hmm.
between the curb return and that driveway is
Yeah.
right there. I don't think that.
No, I don't think
we-
so either.
We wouldn't be able to fit too much
No.
red,
Uh-uh.
but for sure on the other side.
I agree. Yeah, that driveway's right there, so that should provide, no one's gonna be parking across
No,
that. So it
probably
should
not.
provide the 20 feet or so of no parking area, so you have better line of sight going on that side.
On the
So
west
we're
side?
proposing 20 feet where the pool's at?
On the,
West side.
yeah, where the pool is, yeah.
Yeah, where the pool is.
I know,
On
I
the
didn't
west
notice
side.
it at first, I was like, what? Oh, yeah,
I was
pool.
getting confused with west.
Yeah,
east
because
side.
we're
Yes.
looking at the east side and that driveway's so close to the
driveway,
curb
yeah.
return that
Mhm.
there is no place to park.
Yeah.
No.
Because you would be blocking the parking, so it wouldn't,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have enough to do 15 foot of red.
It's probably right as soon as the
Yeah.
ECR comes out, it's probably driveway, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is this our recommendations? Everybody agrees with that? We'll add the ask code, direct code to ask the property owner to trim those bushes, the things as it stands, and then we're gonna add 20 feet of additional red curb on the west side by the pool.
Yes.
Okay.
By the
How about- Okay.
All right, then our next item is Hollenbeck Street from Merced Avenue to Hollencrest Drive. For this request, residents are requesting to evaluate existing parking conditions along the east side of Hollenbeck Street from Merced Avenue south to Hollencrest Drive. The residents explain that during school pickup hours, vehicles line up on the south leg of the intersection to turn left into Merced Avenue, creating a traffic jam. Vehicles traveling northbound drive along the east side of the street as a type of quote-unquote second lane to avoid waiting in single lane with vehicle turning left. However, this practice is unable to take place when vehicles parked along the east side of Hollenbeck Street. The residents are requesting for the city to set parking restrictions along the east side of Hollenbeck Street south of Merced Avenue to allow for a left turn lane and a through lane for vehicles to sit at the intersection. The existing conditions for this intersection is Hollenbeck Street for the south leg is 25 miles per hour, and on the north side is 25 miles per hour. Or Hollencrest is also 25 miles per hour, apologies. And Merced Avenue is 35 miles per hour. Hollenbeck Street is a local road, and Merced Avenue is a major collector road, and Hollencrest is additionally a local road per the Caltrans classification map. The street width along Hollenbeck Street is 40 feet. Same with Merced Avenue and Hollencrest, with all three being 40 feet. All three have one 20-foot lane in each direction. And the intersection is an always stop controlled intersection. There is parking allowed on both sides of the street for all three streets. And additionally, a traffic collision history was done using Switters from a 3-year period between January 2021 through December of 2023. And it was found that there was one vehicle versus vehicle collision. Additionally, a field visit was conducted and site photos were taken on Wednesday, July 17th of 2024. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM, UTCD, and CVC, it has been determined that the segment of Hollenbeck Street from Merced Avenue to Hollencrest Drive does not qualify for the installation of parking restrictions. Currently, determination of parking restrictions within city limits is under moratorium. At this time, this segment of Hollenbeck Street qualifies for the following, which is the installation of 40 feet of red curb along the east side of Hollenbeck Street, south of Merced Avenue, to allow right turns at the intersection, to refresh the existing stop-ahead pavement markings located along Hollenbeck Street approaching the intersection with Merced Avenue, refresh the existing stop bars and stop pavement legends for all 4 legs at the intersection of Merced Avenue and Hollenbeck Street, and to refresh the existing stop bar and stop pavement legend for the south leg at the intersection of Casa Grande Drive at Hollencrest Street Drive.
Oh, I'm going, where's Hollencrest? Oh, down lower. Okay, so basically these residents wanted the whole curve area red. So, because they wanted to leave it clear so you can have a lane to turn left and go through and not be blocked by parents' cars. But, I mean, we can't just totally eliminate places for parents to drop off their kids or wait to pick up. That's my opinion. And that it usually only lasts for maybe 30 minutes and then it's clear. As long as they're not clogging the intersection itself. Because if we made that whole thing red, then these parents are gonna go somewhere. They're not just gonna miraculously disappear. They're gonna park somewhere else. So, and it's only a 20-foot lane. So there's only room for a parked car and 1 lane to go through. So unfortunately, people are gonna have to stop and go at the stop sign with 1 lane if people or cars are parked. Now, by putting 40 feet of red curb, we are allowing at the intersection itself to sit side by side with the left turn and make a through or a right, if that's where it's going. But it is a stop, so everybody who comes is gonna have to stop and then go anyway. It's not like it's a through lane that they can just zip on by, so.
What school is this?
It's Hollencrest School, isn't it? Holland, it's a middle school. Hollenbeck Middle School? Okay. I know it's a middle school, and we have additional requests on this school for stuff on Merced.
Mhm.
So this is just one piece of it. So we're open for discussion, Maria or Joanne, Robert? What is our feeling on this?
Has the city ever, city engineering division ever had some kind of communications with different schools regarding like traffic safety concerns? Mainly because I know at my children's school, whenever there's issues with, potential issues with traffic safety concerns, drop-off, pickup, the school, the principal constantly sends out emails like once a week or every so often to remind the parents like where pickup and drop-off is and how to be mindful of like other drivers and pedestrians and so forth. So I'm not sure if they may already be doing this, but I'm not, but if, in case not, maybe.
Yeah, this is the one, it's also having construction, they're getting a new big
Mhm.
auditorium or something there.
Mhm.
So some of the area on the north side of Merced
Mhm.
is closed, so people cannot park there as well because of the construction.
Or drop off.
Or drop off probably, so.
Did they get permission from the city to close off that area of Merced? Or?
I don't think they're,
Where their building's in the middle of an intersection.
Oh.
It's, I don't
It's
know
on
the
the
street.
school property, they're
Yeah.
not blocking the
It's-
street.
No,
it's-
they're not
it's
blocking
it's
the street,
DSA,
so-
Oh,
so
okay.
they're,
Mhm.
you know, DSA is their own authority unless they're touching the right of way, and they're probably not.
Okay.
All they're doing is building an on-site building, so.
yeah, I think they still have the sidewalk open.
They do.
They do, they
Yeah.
built, they constructed a temporary driveway to
Mhm.
access the construction,
The back.
or
Okay.
their construction, but that's the only change to the public right of way.
Okay.
Okay.
Did they used to have access to, I mean, for drop-offs and through the other side?
Junior highs, I don't know, some schools allow, because they do have, their parking lot right there, and it looks like, parents pull into the parking lot and then pull back out, so I think that's probably one area to drop their kids off.
It could
And
be-
I wonder, if they're doing an auditorium, they're probably also doing a parking lot in the back, I imagine. I don't know what that looks
Yeah, I
like,
don't
but
know, it's just green.
maybe,
Green fence.
maybe in the future, we could revisit that,
Mhm.
because maybe, like, to Joanne's point, talk to the school district and allow maybe not only drop off and pickups here on this side, but if they have a parking lot on the other side, where parents could be allowed to potentially park and wait for their kids
Mhm.
instead of clogging up the street. I don't know, it's a suggestion.
To the west, there is a mid-block crosswalk at
Yes.
Merced and Michelle.
Okay.
So I
We-
know that there's cars that go there during pickup, because I've seen that before. I haven't been there during drop-off.
And we did a report to upgrade that crossing,
Yeah, we did.
right?
Mhm.
I know we looked at it, it came here and everything already, right? Okay.
What I'm saying is maybe we could relook at it after the auditorium.
Yeah.
Maybe there is an opportunity, once they open up the auditorium, and I imagine there have to be a parking lot attached to that. Maybe we can reach out now and see what they have planned and start kind of putting those little thoughts in their head, you know, can we potentially alleviate some of the traffic here by allowing some, during the peak hours, just parking during the peak hours for
Mhm.
parents for pickup and drop off?
Yeah.
Mhm.
My concern is if they're parking on Grande Drive, allowing their kids to get off, there's not a crosswalk.
No, it's just it always
at that
stops, so.
intersection.
Mhm.
So that
Mhm.
poses a risk for potential.
There's no sidewalk along that segment as well. on
Yeah.
both
Yeah, there
sides.
is no sidewalk.
Mhm.
There's sidewalk along Merced, but not along Holland Crest,
Or
Holland
Casa
Back,
Grande, or Casa
south of
Grande.
the intersection, or Casa Grande.
There's no path of travel right now.
Got it.
No sidewalk.
Is it safe
What was that?
for,
It was hit a couple months ago on that street.
Is it safe
Yeah,
for
that's why
vehicles to
the
park on
Crossing was,
the east side of, was it Hollenbeck Street? Right there, like if it was just like, not in relation to the school, if there was like just neighboring vehicles just parked there.
Mhm.
Like, cause they would have to
Go
either
around.
cross Hollenbeck Street from their vehicle or walk along the street to go to Holland Crest Drive.
Yeah, there's an issue all along
Yeah, and how
the
do you
east side of
prevent, how do you
Hollenbeck.
prevent that without going back and adding sidewalks to the whole thing? Now we're talking a whole ball of wax, a different,
Or redesign that
Yeah.
street.
Yeah. Well, we can take a look at having crosswalks, but then there's no
there's no walks to go
sidewalk,
to.
so you're
Yeah.
not gonna have ADA, and you
Mhm.
can't put a crosswalk in now without whole ADA. So if you have ADA, you can build the wheelchair ramp, but then it goes to nothing.
It goes nowhere. So in this case, I just think maybe we should just look at this again at some later time after they finish. Maybe reach out to the school, I don't know who have the contacts to see what they're actually doing. And maybe look for that opportunity in the future.
And one thing to note, Jana, if you look in the top left corner of the existing conditions photo, you'll see that there's a circular driveway. However, I just looked,
Mhm.
it is closed currently during construction.
Oh,
So that
so
might
maybe
be
that one,
contributing
yeah.
to the
Probably.
temporary additional traffic, whereas once it's
Oh, that
completed,
looks,
to
that looks
Maria's
like a,
point.
yeah, cause it's not, yeah, it looks like that might be also a drop-off area.
Which, like I said, I had a gut feeling, but I just double checked and on the aerial, it
I see.
shows that it's closed currently.
That is probably contributing to it as well, because I'm gonna bet, based on design experience, typically the new schools try to do drop-off areas to take the traffic off the small
Right.
residential streets. So it would be maybe wise to ask them to see what they're doing and what they're planning on doing. Because I think once that's done, it may alleviate not all of it, but it will alleviate some of the impacts.
Okay, so, we'll hold off on this one, and then we will
Yeah.
contact the school about the new plans and drop-off pickups.
Because usually they take that into consideration during design. Because usually that is a problem in any older school.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, the schools had some insurance reasons that they didn't allow people to drop off on site. So
Okay.
maybe that's changing some, we can find out.
Yeah.
Jenna, were you able to update this, the collision data? The most recent one was last year, right? That's
Yeah,
just
we went
car-to-car
all the way
accidents?
to December 2023. So
Okay.
that's the only one that was
And this only
recorded.
shows car-to-car accidents.
Right,
not-
because the one where the pedestrian got hit, it
Mhm.
was on Merced, and we took that as a separate report. And we
Okay.
looked at the collisions for that. And now we're updating the crossing
Mhm.
on Merced itself.
Okay.
So this was basically just the issue about cars parking on Casa Grande, waiting for their students or in line to make a left and drop off on Merced, I'm thinking, so.
Do we know what the timeline is of the residents' complaint versus the construction? Because maybe they're related.
It came from several different sources.
Okay. Okay.
So, but we can dig deeper on this one and then bring it back when we find out some more information. We'll talk to the school.
Yeah. See if that new area accommodates for some drop-off.
Yeah. So
Space.
hopefully they have that in their plans. Yeah, I don't know, we need to find out when the construction will be done. Because schools, they usually don't have to go to the city. They have their own.
Unless they touch the right-of-way, they
Yeah.
are DSA driven.
Right, so they don't have to get approvals from the city, so it's the school district, so.
The only time they will come to us is if they had to do like a wider driveway
something
within
with
the
the
right of way.
right-of-way,
They would need an
okay.
encroachment permit.
Mhm.
But other than that, they're their own
Yeah, we don't
entity.
know, I mean, we've seen it, so.
Mhm.
We'll make contact with the
Mhm.
with the school and
Mhm.
see if we can find some information out.
Okay, fair enough.
And it's a junior high, so PD may have some information at that location as well.
Okay.
So we can ask them if they have any update on that item. Okay. This one?
Okay, and the next item is for 1025 Chase Way. For this request, the resident is requesting for red curb to be installed in front of a fire hydrant that is located on the east side of their property, located at 1025 Chase Way. The resident reported that vehicles tend to park in front of the fire hydrant, blocking access to the fire hydrant, also creating line-of-sight issues for vehicles turning into Vanderwell Avenue. The resident explained that previously there was red curb installed near the fire hydrant. However, after street improvements a couple of years ago, the red curb was removed. The resident is requesting to reinstall red curb along the fire hydrant to provide clearance in case of emergency and to improve line of sight at the intersection. And for this one, the existing conditions along both Chase Way and Vanderwell Avenue is a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, with Vanderwell Avenue having a posted speed limit and Chase Way being a prima facie. Both roads are considered a local road per the Caltrans California Road Systems map. Chase Way is 32 feet in width, and Vanderwell Avenue is 40 feet in width. There is no control type at the intersection. For existing red curb on the northwest corner, there's 10 feet on the west side of Vanderwell Avenue and 10 feet on the north side of Chase Way. And from a collision review of 3 years of available traffic collision data from Switters between January 2021 to December 2023, it was found that there was no collisions during this time. Additionally, a field visit was conducted on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024, to review the existing conditions near the intersection of Chase Way and Vanderwell Avenue. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, it has been determined that the residence located on 1025 Chase Way qualifies for additional red curb. Recommendations are shown in the following diagram. The recommendation is to install 25 feet of red curb south of the fire hydrant and 15 feet of red curb north of the fire hydrant for a total of 40 feet of red curb along Vanderwell Avenue at Chase Way.
And we do have a resident here for that request, so Christina Franco?
Yes.
Okay, now is your shot.
I have some pictures and I would like to approach the screen to show you. Is that possible? May I approach the screen?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
Because I don't have copies for everyone.
No worries.
It's okay.
Is this the picture you want
Yes,
to have?
this is it,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I'll
Okay,
pass it along.
thank you for letting me.
Yeah, sure.
My parents and I bought this house in 1978. We were brand new owners, brand new house. We ever lived there until now. My parents died, I moved out, of course, but my parents died, so now I moved in 3.5 years ago. All these years, I don't know, 48, the curb was red. And the curb was not removed 3 years ago, it was removed like in June, May, June, for no reason, I don't know. First they came and painted, then they took it away.
Where was it removed?
It was removed from here, and from here. When I moved in, I got a permit from the city to widen my driveway. So now I can park 3 cars. See how the cars park so close? I don't have access to get out. They block my driveway and they block it to the neighbor too. So that's why I requested red there and they removed it. And then here, I don't care, but this is important. But because there is a wheelchair access, don't you have to do it on both sides? Don't you have to?
No, just the approach.
Okay, so that one is fine.
Mhm.
This is what I would like repaint again if possible, because when I park 3 cars here, they block my driveway, especially
Are they
weekends.
hanging over into your driveway or are they in a legal spot? Is there bumper
Depends, see if it's a small
into
car.
your?
If it's a small car, yes, but weekends, vans, trucks,
Mhm.
and to be safe, because if I have 3 cars, I have guests too. And it's just overwhelming, it's just frustrating for me. Especially when it was red and they removed it for no reason, no explanation. So this is perfect. This is what I would like, please. What do you think?
Well, thank you. Well, we have the new policy for West Covina, so normally unless it's a line of sight, we don't put the red curve on either side of driveways, because if we did yours, we would have to do everyone's, because it sets a precedent.
Except that mine, I widen it and it's 3 cars. All the others
Oh,
are
I
2.
know, yeah, so that
And I
is
have a
not the,
permit.
correct, that's not the issue, because even if you, the guy across the street has 3, it doesn't matter, it's just we don't put the red curb on either side of a driveway. But we can give you code enforcement's number, and if someone is hanging over into your driveway, then you can call them and they can give them a ticket or ask them to move. So we are recommending the 40 feet for the fire hydrant on the one side. Where it's a total of 40 feet because normally we would only put 15 feet on each side, but it has some red. It has, I believe, 10 feet of existing. And if we didn't paint it all the way, it's only 10 feet, so car can't park there anyway, so.
No, this is the house when it had only 2 driveways. And look at the car, the way they park. It's more on my side than on theirs.
Yeah.
But if you look at the picture I sent you, there.
Oh, they're looking at it, one of us looking at it.
May I? This one.
Oh,
I cannot park here because I can't take out if I have 2 cars here. And the same things with this, my neighbors.
Yeah, see, if this is a legal spot, right from
I
here
know,
to
but they
here.
park over here too. I have
Yeah, so
pictures.
then, yeah, well then, code enforcement can deal with that. But
And I
if
have to
this-
call them every
yes,
weekend.
Well, hopefully if it's the same vehicle, then they won't park there, or they'll at least remain inside their,
They have a lot of
curb.
parties. Can't you paint red here and here?
You see, that's the thing,
Yeah, I know.
we
Everybody-
can, it's just the city now has a policy because of the cost to repaint the red there.
Well, this is
They don't
my-
like to, so,
They removed it 3 months ago.
yeah, I don't know,
First they came
no
and
idea.
painted it.
Yeah.
Then they remove it, now they're gonna paint again. So that's your tax money,
Yeah.
our tax money. It's frustrating. So see what you can do on that little piece.
Okay.
Piece.
Do we have comments? I will keep this with this.
Yes. They find out why they removed it 3 months ago. First they came and painted it. And then a few weeks later, they took everything out. No sense.
On Chaseway?
Yes, in my house. Seeing a fire hydrant there, they still removed it. First they painted because it was painting away. They painted.
Public Works. So we'd have to ask Mike.
Yeah, Mike Crystal.
Yeah,
I'll reach out.
okay. We'll ask our Public Works Department, because they're in charge of
Thank you
painting
so
any,
much.
anything like that. The other part where we paint the red curb around the fire hydrant,
that's fine.
we're okay with that, and we'll find out about the other one, okay?
Yeah.
Is her information in there, in the card?
Yes. Oh,
Robert may need it
Yeah.
for, to follow up with her.
yes. So Robert will find out from Public Works about what happened on the street.
Oh, and they came knocking on my door, saying that I painted red.
Oh, maybe your neighbor did. I don't know.
I'll follow up
I'll
I'll follow up with city staff
Yeah,
and I'll give you a call.
I mean, incredible. I lived there for 48
Yeah.
years. I mean, the neighbor.
Unless you saw a guy in an orange vest come and paint it.
No. They were in
then-
a yellow truck. With the
No,
uniform.
you said they knocked on your door saying we removed it because somebody else painted it. They didn't have records
No,
of
because
them
I
doing
didn't-
it?
Exactly, but I didn't, I wasn't home, so he left a nasty note.
Well, Robert will find out, and then we'll get back to you.
So I was,
I think we have your email, right?
yes.
Because
It's
you,
in here.
you
Yes.
contact us, right? Yes. So we'll let you know on that
That's
one.
Public Works, we're looking at the street view, doesn't correlate with, you know, like it was recently done.
So I just pulled it up on Google Maps right now too, and I went to the site in July, so I know where the area you're talking about is. And I'm seeing on the aerial view from like February of this year, there is red curb.
Yeah.
And then it was gone when I went in July
Yeah.
to visit the site, so that's interesting.
I was so happy, it only lasted 1 minute.
Not to
Is it
say,
she's
I
talking
have
about?
no
She's talking
idea
about
how
We went back
it, you
to-
know,
Yeah.
what the
Talking
issue
about that
is.
one.
But there are cases that residents do paint red. It may not be you. It may be your
Well,
neighbor.
I
You
came
you
to
just
the-
don't know.
I came to the house 3 years ago and I spent a lot of money fixing it, a lot of money, because I sold the other house. So some of the neighbors are a little jealous, maybe they complain, I don't know. But I don't bother anybody, and that red curb, I loved it, because nobody was blocking my way.
Well, maybe the guy who's
Let me ask
parked
you a
there
question.
lives
Yes,
next door. I don't
exactly.
know, so.
Just for clarity, you're talking about the red curve right here.
Right where that car is.
Not here, right?
No, not there.
Because that's the one that we were.
Oh, okay.
on.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
so
was
the
it?
other
The one in
one,
between
it's
the
not
houses.
has red curb.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other one in between both cars.
It was,
Because
okay.
I widened mine to 3 cars, so now I
Okay.
didn't.
Got it. I just wanted to make sure we were all clear, because
Yeah.
we're looking at a different area that wasn't and wasn't, but that's
Yeah.
not what you were talking about. You're talking about that little
Right,
wedge,
Mhm.
yeah.
a one-car spot.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, one small car.
Yeah.
If it's a van or a truck,
It
forget
just hangs out.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, we'll do some research on that and we'll get back to you, okay?
Okay.
All
I just
right.
want to say, so I can go home.
Yeah, yeah.
That I'm very impressed with the way you are working, so efficient, so organized. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank
And
you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no.
Thank you so
we
much.
have we have return customers.
Good show.
So, you know, so you have our email, so you can contact us if you don't
Yes.
hear from us, and then we
Even
will
have her
let you
I
know.
hope you give me good news about that little spot.
For
Thank you.
friends.
Stay cool when you leave.
I know.
It's probably still hot outside.
Good night.
Good night. Okay.
I don't know what item this is.
Merced at Valinda, did we look at that?
The last
Yeah,
item.
on the last one.
Oh,
the Brook
okay.
Tree.
Brook Tree. That's part of Brook Tree?
Whenever you move it to a week.
The next
Okay.
one.
The next one.
Okay.
All right.
So we agree we're gonna take it as is, but then we're gonna still look into it?
Yes.
Or are we gonna just pull it and address it all at once?
Well, I think we need to do the red curb so that she
I-
has that part.
I
And then
think
we
so.
will, as a second issue, we will look at her other parking issue.
Okay.
So we're pulling it, right?
Well, we're going to do the red curb by the fire hydrant. We're
We'll
gonna
satisfy
take a
that re-
relook
We'll
at
satisfy
that
the
car one.
request, yeah,
Yeah.
that request. This is a second request, basically, right?
Yeah,
You would consider that a second request? Okay.
yeah.
And we'll treat it as such, so.
Just because of where the fire hydrant
Yeah,
is, like, it
you
makes
need
sense
it.
to paint that whole area red,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, nobody's against that one. And you
Yeah,
might as well
we'll,
just
we'll
do
take
it.
that one and we'll do further research on
And
the
honestly, by the
other.
time we pull all these together, they'll probably all be done at the same time. Anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay, item I then?
Okay, and for our final new item, this one is a request at 1356 Brook Tree Circle. For this request, a resident is requesting a traffic review of the existing parking conditions along the frontage of the residence located on 1356 Brook Tree Circle. The resident explained that currently the only available handicap parking space is located along the alleyway behind the building and it is difficult to access. The resident is requesting the installation of a new handicap parking stall along Brook Tree Circle that would be more accessible to their family member and neighbor who require medical transportation multiple times per week. And the existing conditions for this study is that Brooktree Circle has a 25-mile-per-hour prima facie speed limit and is classified by the Caltrans roads classification map as a local road. Brooktree Circle is 35 feet wide with 2 lanes in each direction and no center line. There is no red curb along this segment. There are 3 streetlights along the cul-de-sac. And there is on-street parking except during street sweeping hours, which are Tuesday from 8 a.m. to noon. And we as well did look at collision history for this segment along Switters, or through Switters between January 2021 through December of 2023, and found that there were no collisions along this segment during that time period. As well, a field visit was conducted on Wednesday, July 17th, which can be seen here. And for the recommendations, based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines for curb markings and parking and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CBC, it has been determined that 1356 Brooktree Circle does not qualify for the installation of blue curb. The access from the building to the street does not have ADA ramps or accessible path of travel for pedestrians. The frontage along 1356 Brooktree Circle does not have any nearby driveways or ramps mid-block. The nearest ADA ramp is located at the intersection of Eveningside Drive and Brooktree Circle, which is approximately 280 feet west of 1356 Brooktree Circle. At this time, this location along Brooktree Circle does not qualify for further recommendations.
And we have a resident on this one, Mario?
Actually, it was a previous one, I didn't know what the item.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it said I.
But
So
it's
you want
actually
to discuss the previous one, the Chaseway?
Yeah, I think
Is
it's
that the
also two
one?
general questions. The lady brought up an interesting point. So when you have 2 driveways and there's a small section between the 2 driveways, is that governed by you guys, or does that fall under to?
No, if
city?
it's in public right of way. So as long as it's long enough for an actual car to park, we can't restrict it. I mean, we shouldn't restrict it unless there's line of sight. Because if there's, let's say there's 18 feet or there's 17 and a car can park there,
Mhm.
you know, legally, and they're not hanging in to your driveway, then that's a legal place to park because it's on public right of way.
Well, let's say it's 3 feet,
If it's only 3 feet, I mean,
then,
if someone's parking there, then code enforcement can give them a ticket.
but it's
so
not,
the-
that doesn't satisfy like a red curb painting condition per se?
At this time, it doesn't, because there's so many 3 feet or 6
Right.
feet in the city.
No, I've parked there myself sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm guilty of it.
you know, so the problem is, the city is so huge that they decided that unless there was a safety issue, it's hard to paint all this red curb everywhere because you set a precedent. If
Yeah.
I paint your 3 feet, then I have to go the whole around the city and
Right.
paint 3 feet. Because someone can say, well, you painted his and not mine, and, you know, that's the problem we're in. And like this lady, not to discuss it when she's not here, but she had the aprons, and her driveway was on the other side of the apron. So basically, she doesn't have an access that just pulls right out onto the street. She has to curve anyway because that's how her driveway is situated.
Right.
So just because, you know, she's not gonna go over the curb if it's straight exit. So that car, at least when we're looking at it, and we will look at it again,
Yeah.
it looks like it's long enough to be a legal car spot. So it's hard for us to say, well, it needs red curb,
But
you
in
know?
that case, if they're sticking over code enforcement.
Right,
is the entity.
so, yeah.
Okay, got it. And then, I just got to think, Holland Crest is supposed to be done in November, by the way, from the school board, so.
Oh,
What
okay.
you guys-
Thank
Oh,
you.
November,
you.
okay, so it's coming up, so
Yes.
then,
Well, maybe he has a contact, no, I'm just kidding.
Michael
Yeah.
Flowers.
Oh, what's the name?
Michael
Oh, he
Flowers.
does?
oh, he does.
See?
He's
Asking
on the
you,
school board and they
asking
actually
you
meet today
shall
at 6.
receive.
Have to write that down on there.
Yeah, Michael Flowers. He comes,
Can you
he's
give
the
me his
school.
contact or his
Thank
number?
you.
Okay.
need it?
I have it.
You do have it?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, he's everywhere.
Thank you so much.
Hard place to get to.
At least we can find out what their drop-off and pickup plan, or like Joanne said, maybe they can, you know, remind parents there's an issue on
That's
that one
true.
street and park some, you know, we can look at wherever they're designated.
Sorry, do you have paper towels?
I think in that white thing.
He's my favorite resident, by the way.
Gets a,
He's very mindful. Well-behaved.
Okay, so this one with the ADA, there's requirements for us to put it in. You have to have a driveway or an ADA ramp next to where you put the blue curb. And also, you know, we informed the resident who requested this, is that any ADA or blue handicap space in the public right-of-way is open for anyone who has a handicap plaque. So basically, if we paint, let's just say we want to put a blue curb right in front of their door, the neighbor who lives across the street, they can park there. That doesn't mean they have ownership of that spot, them or their neighbor. So in fact, they're kind of eliminating one parking spot for them to even use. So it's kind of, you know, it's one of those that it's, you know, it's hard for us to put ADA for specific people. They have to understand that today's day and age, anyone, you know, there's a lot of people with handicap plaques that can park there.
Do you take a look at the DOJ requirements to see, because I know I worked in other municipalities where almost automatically if a resident requests blue curb, they get it. But I don't know if it was based on their municipal code or based on DOJ requirements.
Yeah, some cities are more pro than others, and then they also have a handicap, blue curb ADA accessible
Municipality
policy in their municipal code.
But there's
so-
nothing on the DOJ's website for meeting the requirement for the population in general?
Not that I know.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could look it up and see if there's something that we're missing, but,
Is this property on 1356 Brook Tree Circle, is it an apartment or is it a condo or?
It's condo.
Almost looks like
There's
a
an
condo.
attached unit of some
Yeah.
kind. Because they said for them and their neighbor, so there may be a couple people. I mean, they probably would like it, at least from the pictures in front of the walkway, maybe. There's a white van there. But, you know, like we said, that doesn't mean that they will get it. And then they could have somebody across the street, especially if they're attached housing, park there all the time, and then they'll have no parking for their, well, unless they move.
They can go to their HOA and
Yeah.
request more handicap spaces
In the back.
in the back, yes.
Right. So normally we look, when we do 8A as well, we see if they have a spot in the back with,
Oh, I see, no.
because they have,
You're
the
right,
yeah, the
Joanne.
different,
If they
it's
have
like
that
a,
back area,
mhm.
they can request, because they do have access, they have path of travel from the back parking lot to the
Right.
front. So it makes actually more sense to have ADA accessibility from the parking lot, not from the street. You still have that sidewalk, that inner sidewalk, it looks like goes to the back probably. So it would make sense to have the accessibility, but it will make more sense to have it from the parking lot than from the front, if it's a condo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we don't know if that's a whole complex, so then they have to have so many ADA spaces, I would think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there may be something there as well, so.
Could we reach out back to the resident and let them know that, you know, to reach out to their HOA and that, you know, we see that it's more fitting for a person with disability to be picked up from a parking lot versus being put in a blue curb that's gonna prevent the rest of the residents when we can just do it in the back? And it satisfies them because that parking lot in the back, I imagine, is for them, right?
Yeah.
The street is free for all,
Yeah.
so it would make more sense to do it on site.
And also the
agree.
fact that the street doesn't have ADA access. If there's, from the building to the street,
Mhm.
because there's steps there.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
that's even to my point, yeah.
Mhm. It doesn't make any sense to
No,
put
it needs-
something
it makes-
where it's not accessible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, you're right. Steps there too, you can't.
Yeah, so I would say just reach out to the resident and let them know.
But,
that-
I mean, I'm assuming, I mean, we took these pictures, so this isn't from the resident. We could be at the wrong path, but it looks like they all have steps.
Yep. It doesn't make sense to have access from the street anyways.
Yeah. it
Because then
looks
if
like
we
there's
did,
so
then
maybe the
here's where
white-
you're open up a can of worms.
Uh-huh.
Once you put the blue curve, now you gotta figure out,
Fix
if
the
those steps are within the
sidewalk
right of
and
way, a ramp
And everyone's gonna want it.
and railing.
Yep.
And so it just snowballs. So to everybody's point,
Oh,
it makes
yeah.
more sense to be in the back.
Yeah.
To Joanne's point, the back makes more sense.
Mhm. Path to house. Okay. I think that, oh, we have one more resident, Mr. Dubin.
Dubin, Stephen.
I'm
yes.
getting better.
You're doing much better, Jenna, thank you.
Welcome.
First and foremost, I really want to thank the traffic committee for getting my crosswalks painted.
Oh, good.
Finally, yay!
Yeah, yay.
Did a good job on that, so. Just a couple of other things, though, that I'd like to address. The word school in the street on Belinda by the school really does need to be repainted as well. And is there any possibility of maybe getting like the pedestrian signs that you showed earlier, maybe on both sides of the street, especially on the Belinda side, because that does get a lot of traffic, especially in the morning. Not so bad in the afternoon, but in the morning it does tend to get a little bit dicey, especially with the parents dropping their kids off and everybody's in a hurry to get to the parking lot. And, you know, it's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in the school zone. I know Belinda's a 40-mile-an-hour street and everything.
On Valinda?
On
At
Valinda.
the Valinda and Merced intersection?
Yeah, if we can get maybe mainly the pedestrian signs on the Belinda side, not so much on the Merced side, but on the Belinda side where you have that little icon of the pedestrians on there, or maybe.
Well, there is a sign that says,
Yeah, it says-
vehicles yield to peds for
Yeah.
like the right turn, because you said they weren't stopping in the crosswalk,
Yeah,
is
not-
that?
not
What
the
kind of
letters.
signs are you thinking? You said school signs? What
Yeah,
kind
the
of
word
ped
school
si-
on the street.
Yes, I
Yeah,
got
it's-
that.
It needs to be painted.
Right, and then
Or
what
school
kind of
zone.
sign?
Pardon me?
What kind of sign was it you were thinking of?
Oh, that little green, yellow, green pedestrian sign, where it says pedestrians crossing and stuff like that.
Oh, in the crosswalk?
Maybe not in the
little, like
crosswalk, but maybe across the street from the crosswalk, or somewhere like in the middle, right by the school, but before you get to the stoplight on Merced, where people will be able
Oh,
to see that
like
pedestrian, you know
school
what I'm saying.
ahead sign type of
Yeah.
things?
Like are you talking about the one that we showed earlier with the flashing lights underneath it?
The diamond or the,
Yeah,
what
something
says
like
with
that,
the
yeah.
head,
No,
double ped?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
those
they-
aren't on Valinda, so you'd like us to look at Valinda?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
to look at Belinda, The other thing, one other good thing too, I might as well share with you, that they did retime both the stoplights on Belinda and Merced, where they're allowing for a better flow of traffic on both sides now.
Oh, good.
And I really, really like it because it's deterring people from running the stoplights. I mean, not like when it used to be 30 seconds on both sides. And man, I tell you, that was getting pretty dicey over there. But now they've retimed them, which, thankfully it's a good thing, and I'm really liking it. It's making it a lot safer for me and my kids as I cross and everything. And people are a little bit more mindful now, so I'm glad to see that. The only problem I have is the people are still parking on the crosswalk, or stopping in the crosswalk. In fact, I had a community service officer come out 2 days in a row last week and admonishing these people, no, you can't park. And there's a red zone there by the school also, so she's telling them, no, you can't park here, you can't park here. And even on Merced Avenue, and, you know, people are waiting to turn to get, you know, into the driveway and everything, so. I thought maybe if it's within the realm of possibility, you could put up a sign that says, no stopping in the crosswalk. It's California Vehicle Code 22500. That says that you're not allowed to stop or, you know, remain in a crosswalk. Only police vehicles, taxis, and buses are allowed, you know, and first responders. But that's about mainly what I would like to see and everything. But for right now, I mean, if the community service officer come out like he did, like maybe twice a week, and especially in the afternoon, and, you know, tell these people, no, you can't.
Yeah.
That would be better, but the newly painted crosswalk really looks nice and
Okay,
everything.
great.
And it really does make a difference now, so thank you all. Thank you, Brian, for looking into that, and thank you, the traffic committee. Like the lady said, you guys are doing an awesome job, so, absolutely,
Thank you for coming, letting us know what's happening, so,
absolutely.
great. And we'll take a look at that intersection and see
Yeah,
what the signage is on Belinda.
Just a few little things, I mean, you know, I would like to see more down, but for right now, we just like take things one at a time, and, you know, just to make it a little safer for the kids and everything like that, and pedestrians, so.
Yes.
Yes,
Well, thank you for your
Thank you all
service, too.
again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then if there's no more audience comments on items on the agenda or any committee members not on the agenda, then we'll go ahead and adjourn the September traffic committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
see you all next month.